welcome to the 49ers live looking at the SAP Performance Facility. I'm joined by 49ers General Manager John Lynch. I'm your host, Lindsey Pallares, and it's day 3 of pads for the 49ers. We're going to discuss the QB 411, wide receiver Brandon Aiyuk's dominance, and a revamped 49ers defensive line. John, in 6 months, Brock Purdy has gone from suffering a season-ending injury to undergoing surgery, rehab, and now he has 4 practices under his belt. At what point did you begin to feel confident he'd be back on this field in time for training camp?
Well, Brock, first of all, I think it's why it's so important to bring the right kind of people, because not only while they're playing is it going to lead to their success, but when they get injured, how are they going to attack that rehab? And Brock has just done a tremendous job since day one. There were some hurdles early on. We had to push the surgery back, but that decision was made for the right reason. They wanted the best outcome. And we always knew Brock would attack it, but you kind of hang on and you don't know. He kept hitting every marker that we had. They felt good about his ability to show up on day 1 of training camp and be ready, but you don't believe it till you see it. And Brock's done a tremendous job, and he's a part of a group, a room in the quarterback room with Trey, with Sam, with Brandon Allen, along with Brock, that we feel really good about. And he's doing great. There's still a plan in place, so often days people will see 2 days on, 1 day off, 2 days on, 2 days off. But he's really making the strides we want to see and playing at a high level and picking up exactly where he left off last year.
You talk about an athlete attacking the opportunity. Some of Purdy's highlights include a couple of 50-yard goal balls and then a strike to Juwan Jennings in the back of the end zone on Tuesday. What's been the most encouraging aspect of his first 4 practices?
Just he looks like the guy we saw last year, and I think the second year 2 is always a really interesting year for a player, because there should be a great jump. And Brock was pretty darn good from the start, but we're seeing signs of a even better player. He's been around the system another year. He's getting more reps. Remember, this time last year he's getting 3 or 4 reps of practice. But what always struck us was how he made those reps count, and he's doing the same with all the reps he's getting now, really playing and executing at a high level. There's a lot of belief in Brock and what he brings to the table, and he earns that each and every day out here on the practice field.
You mentioned rep distribution, and that's been a subject of conversation at this training camp. Trey Lance and Sam Darnold have larger opportunities on the days that Brock is sitting out of practice. How have those 2 players made the most of their reps so far?
They've done a great job. I think a lot has been made about reps. The fact is we got 4 guys we want to see, and there's ample opportunity for each of them to get their chances. I mean, one positive about Brock coming off this injury is there's days he's not out here, and on those days Sam and Trey and Brandon all get better opportunities, more opportunities, and they're making the most of those. So couldn't be prouder, happier for that group and the way they're getting better. And Brian Greasy, Clay Kubiak, they're doing a great job of continuing to have those guys grow. People see practice out here, but then there's so much more in the meeting rooms, in the walkthroughs. And so those guys are going to be ready. And the great thing, the preseason games, they're all going to have their chances to go out there and do it in a setting where the evaluation will be much better, because it's real football. Practice is, you got to bring it each and every day, and we try our best to simulate it. But there is something different about playing these preseason games, and starting next week in Las Vegas, they'll have their opportunity to do that against the Raiders.
Equally as important to the offensive success of the 49ers are, of course, the pass catchers. And nobody's racked up as many receptions as Brandon Aiyuk. He's coming off a 1,000-yard season. What is the mindset he has taken to elevate his game even further this camp?
Yeah, you could tell Brandon, who's always been a hard worker, but there was something different this offseason. He was on a mission. You could see it from day 1 of the offseason. And he's continued that through to training camp. And when a real talented guy, comes after it with that mindset, it's going to lead to great things. And Brandon's having a tremendous camp, really excited for what's going to, you put that work in, it's going to translate. He's doing it each and every day. And it's fun to see guys when they get that mentality. And he's got the mentality. He's got so much ability. he's going to be tremendous for us.
We've also seen a sleeker Deebo Samuel walk into practice. How does the competition between these two elite wide receivers fuel each other to success?
Well, I think first of all they got each other's back. They're part of our team, our offense, our receiver room, and they're very much leaders with the way they go about it. Can't say enough about Deebo. He recognized some things that maybe last year there were circumstances, but the bottom line, he wasn't in the shape that he probably wanted to or needed to be for him to maximize his talent. Now, having said that, he still was an unbelievable football player, but he really committed to getting himself in great shape. That's going to help Deebo be a better player this year, but it's going to help him in his career. And when you make that much sacrifice and you're as talented and you have the ability that Deebo has, it's going to be something special.
How is the leadership of those two players really trickle down to the younger wide receivers in that room?
Yeah, it's, when your best players, your hardest workers, that's a really good thing. And we have that throughout our roster. Those two guys are working their tails off, and it's leading to that entire room playing at a high level. Proud of the young guys like Danny Gray, who are making the most, Ronnie Bell, a rookie, and then we've got other vets. A guy like Chris Conley comes in, Willie Snead. Those guys really set the tone in that room. We ask our receivers to do a lot, not only in the pass game, but in the pride they take in their blocking. And those guys are embracing it all. Leonard Hankerson does a great job coaching that group, and a lot of personalities, but they come to work.
On the other side of the ball, we have a revamped defensive line. That was one of your big focuses of the offseason. What's your early impression of Javon Hargrave and how he's elevated the competition of the guys next to him on that D-line?
Yeah, he's proven. You just turn on the tape anywhere he's been. He's an excellent football player. He's a difference maker. We wanted to add a difference maker. We're getting everything we thought we were going to get and more with Javon. It's exciting, and then you see a healthy Eric Armstead playing at a high level. Cleveland Farrell's come in here and really shown well. Drake Jackson committed this offseason, made some changes in his body that were necessary for him to have success. I could go on and on with the group. Kevin Givens, Alex Barrett's having a fantastic camp. We like doing it with talent, difference-making players, and then with the volume, because those guys rotate. We ask them to play really hard, and when they're tired, we'll roll the next crew. Jawan Kinlaw has been fantastic. He's healthy, and it's showing out here. So we've always said that's the group that kind of drives our team and sets the tone, and those guys are doing a great job of doing that.
And speaking of that D-line, high praise from defensive coordinator Steve Wilkes. How have you seen him acclimating, just taking over this defensive unit?
Steve's been awesome. Steve's got a great presence to him, and you can't fake presence. He's extremely knowledgeable. He's been successful. He's been a head coach. He's got great leadership qualities. He also bought into we were the number one defense in football last year, and he had a lot of like-minded philosophies on how you have success as a defense. And so rather than coming and tearing it up and saying, "Oh, I'm going to put in what I've always done," he's embraced what we do and then tried to put his own stamp on it. And it's been a seamless transition, and we're excited about Steve being here and his contribution.
Part of his stamp is that physicality and that increased commitment to blitzing. What are your early thoughts of that you've seen in team drills?
Yeah, Steve, every coach has their own personality, and sure, Steve has blitzed more than we have, and so I don't think it will be a drastic change because we like, when we can, just doing it with our front four, but adding some tools to the toolbox. The way he's coached up our back end along with Daniel Bullocks and the other assistant coaches has been great. So really excited about where everything's at.
And just being here in front of a sold-out crowd each day with the faithful, what does the support of the fans mean to this team?
Well, the faithful, going on my 7th year here, and, it's unbelievable. Their passion, their support, whether we're here at Levi's where we have a great home field advantage, they sell it out each and every week and they bring the energy, or when we go over and go on the road, wherever we go, they're there, they're present, they're passionate, and they take over stadiums, and that's really fun, and we feel that. We feed off their energy and very grateful for the way they support us.
Thank you so much for your time, John.
Thank you,
we
Lindsey.
enjoyed having you here at training camp with us.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, John.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.